For the first time this season and all year long, Cowboys color analyst Babe Laufenberg on the D&M Leasing Hotline. Good morning, sir. Happy season.
Good morning, and let's address both of those topics right off the bat. There will be trivia.
Okay.
And you're exactly right. I text in to the uninitiated out there. I will text the night before or the day before and say, hey, I'd like to hit these two things and then whatever else you guys want to do. We never hit these two things. So I said, you know what? Why am I wasting my time?
Okay. All right. Okay. All
Okay,
right.
ready for some trivia?
Yes.
All right, let's start with this one. You know, we always do something that's pertinent to the team the Cowboys are playing. So Nick Sirianni, okay, he is one of 3 head coaches to go to the Super Bowl twice in his first 4 seasons as a head coach. So 4 years to start your career, 2 Super Bowls. Who are the other 2 guys who have done that? Who are the other 2 head coaches who have done that? First 4 years, they went to 2 Super Bowls.
McVay?
Kyle Shanahan.
Keep going.
Bobby?
Is that right?
Is this first 4 seasons as a coach with that team? Because if it is, it's Jimmy Johnson and or no, Jimmy Johnson was 5 years. Then I'm going to go Bill Belichick.
Okay, 2 guys, 2 coaches. You know what? We've changed a few things this year, as we just discussed, but one thing hasn't changed.
Oh, no.
We've got to turn to Peyton for the answer. Peyton, do you have any idea?
I'm just going to take a wild guess here.
Flores?
I'm going to go, Joe Gibbs and Mike Tomlin, guys. And Joe Gibbs, he actually started 0-5 in his coaching career in Washington in 1981. So there you go.
Peyton watches more football.
See, I got to push back on this one.
Only Choppy could debate factual trivia.
Joe Gibbs went to 2 of Gibbs's Super Bowls were in strike years. They don't count.
One was
87 too, right? 87, 81.
Yeah, but by 87, that is outside the 4 years.
Oh, I know. I'm just discounting Super Bowls in general.
Okay.
Peyton Russell on the scoreboard over us here on 105.3 The Fan. What's going on, Bobby? Bobby's looking out the window.
He's got a problem. See, Bobby's
Bobby,
not
did we
wearing
lose
pants.
He's moving the computer. He's giving us all right. He's saying 1 minute. Babe, your reaction first and foremost to the stunning Micah trade.
Yeah, I wish I had something different or new or novel to offer where you say, wow, I never thought of that. But obviously it's been discussed ad nauseum. And the only thing about it, to me, the optics just left you shaking your head, didn't they? I mean, we had an agreement in March, and then we never spoke again. I mean, you bring the player in. I mean, Micah Parsons isn't negotiating his contract. I mean, Lamar Jackson said, I'm doing my contract. And, but it was just crazy. And it just, honestly, it just looks bad, doesn't it? As I said, there's 31 other teams out there. It's a copycat league. Nobody said, hey, maybe we should start doing our negotiations like that. So it's just crazy. And, that we won't know about the trade, obviously, until we see what they get with the 2 first-round picks from Green Bay. But they're certainly not as good today as they were when they had Micah Parsons on the team.
Agreed.
Now, a lot of other factors, a lot of other stuff. But you can't make the argument that this is a better team today than it was 2 or 3 days ago.
Babe, do you believe there is such a thing as addition by subtraction?
I do believe in that. I'm not so sure. Micah was such a difference maker. And a guy like that, I don't like to use the word generational because that means the generation's about once every 25 years. But that guy comes along, that pass rusher comes along about every 5 years in the draft, right? 5, somewhere in there. You've got the T.J. Watts, the Myles Garretts, the Micah Parsons. And, he was a pain. There's no question he was a pain in the rear end. But he was also a pain in the rear end for the other team. And it's the old Bobby Knight principle, are you worth your problems? And, he wasn't an awful teammate or any of that. He wasn't a leader. That was one thing that always kind of irritated me a little bit, was him talking about his leadership.
Yeah.
And saying I'm a leader, and then you don't show up in the spring for a new defensive coordinator. So, well, time will tell, right? Now, I was on the team for the Herschel trade.
Well,
and so people, compare this to the Herschel trade. I mean, not even close.
Yeah.
Not even close to what that was. And very, very quick aside on that, I didn't do the Netflix sit down. Matter of fact, I haven't seen a minute of it. I've heard some stuff
Why?
on our station. I just don't. I hear things and I see it. I hear it on our station when we play cuts, and people say, "Boy, did you hear this?" I said, "Well, that's not the way it happened."
Oh.
So, yeah. When my book comes out, you'll know the way things happen.
What's the name of the book?
So, haven't decided yet.
Are you seriously working on? Are you seriously working on one?
No, I'm not. But
it would have been a Springsteen song.
Yeah, it would have been. I think I got you, babe. I got you, babe.
Oh, but so the Herschel trade, we're playing Green Bay. At that time, you didn't have the speaker in the helmet where the offensive coordinator talks into the walkie-talkie and the quarterback gets it. We're signaling. So I'm the signaler. I'm signaling in to Troy, and we've got Herschel, and we're not running him. And I'm just thinking, every time I get the play call in my ear and send it in, I'm like, what are we doing here? What are we doing? I think he carried maybe 8 times in that game against Green Bay. We were at Lambeau. And then next day I found out, that's what we were doing. They're not wanting to get him hurt because they're sending him to Minnesota. And there was no rumor of that. Like the Micah thing, things started picking up, and is he going to get traded and blah, blah, blah. And the next day, of course, you pick up the paper, we come in, I forget exactly how, and we just traded Herschel Walker. As Troy said, we had one good player. We just traded him.
Babe Laufenberg, Cowboys color analyst here on the D&M Leasing Hotline. We rely on you for the X's and the O's and the schematics. What do you expect from Brian Schottenheimer's offense schematically and Eberflus's defense second time around here?
Yeah, I wish I could tell you a little bit about Schottenheimer, but he has played it so close to the vest that, honestly, we're going to have to go to the game and see what he does and how they attack it. If I'm Philadelphia, it's interesting. They play a lot of 11 personnel, which is 1 tight end, 1 running back, 3 wide receivers. Trayvon Diggs is going to play tonight. He'll be on a pitch count. The Cowboys are thin at corner. He goes out. If I'm Philly, I play 4 wide receivers, or at worst, flex Dallas Goedert out, so it has a 4 wide receiver look. I want to put as many Dallas Cowboys cornerbacks on the field as possible when Trayvon Diggs goes out of the game. So that's funny. That's the way I would attack it from Philly's standpoint, but we'll see what they do. Now, that being said, do you really want to not hand the ball to Saquon Barkley?
Mm-hmm.
So, in this salary cap era, you can't be strong everywhere. Once upon a time, and you go back to those Cowboys 90s teams, right? They were great on defense. They were great on offense. Now with the salary cap, you kind of can be good here. You got to plug some holes here. But this Philadelphia team, I mean, they're good. They're good in the front 4. They're good at linebacker. They're good in the secondary. They're good at receiver. They're good at quarterback. They're good at running back. They have the best offensive line in football. I mean, it's going to be a challenge. There's a reason why there are 16 games being played this weekend, and the Cowboys are the biggest underdog in any of them.
Babe Laufenberg joining us here on 105 Through the Fan. Babe, I'm curious, you said you don't know what to expect from Schottenheimer. I guess the one thing I'm most curious about with the offense is how much of the Cavante Turpin training camp hype and training camp usage, how real do you think that is once we get into the season? Are we going to see him as a scat back, as somebody lining up in the slot? Do you think they're going to use him in all the sort of ways we saw over the summer?
It's a great question because I think there's kind of that guy every year where you say, this guy, he can do this, he can do that, and then the season starts and they take 8 snaps. But we're going to see a little bit of him. The thing about him, he's so small. Obviously, you can't run him. You can run him on junk plays. They did a little bit last year with handing him the ball. That receiver of that size, the farther away from the line of scrimmage they get in the passing game, the less effective they are. Looks great from where I sit and Brad Sham sit, right, 200 feet in the air. You see that field and you go, look at that guy going down the middle of the field. He's open. But if you're that quarterback and you've got to throw it over a 6'3" linebacker and before the safety gets there, it's not an inviting target. There's a reason why we see tight ends going down the middle of the field so much, right? So it remains to be seen. It's another to be seen. And getting back to Schottenheimer, I asked him this question in camp, but, it's the first time he will call plays for a head coach who is not a defensive guy. He's had 4 play calling experiences in the NFL. Jeff Fisher, defensive coordinator. Rex Ryan, defensive coordinator. Pete Carroll, defensive coordinator. Eric Mangini, defensive coordinator. And what do those guys want to do? They want to run the ball and play defense. So I think this is liberating, I really do, for Brian Schottenheimer not having to answer to a defensive coach who says, hey, let's just not keep it simple. Don't turn it over. Let us go out and play defense. So, it's all a to be seen. And very quickly, the last year that Brian Schottenheimer was a play caller was in Seattle. He got fired by Pete Carroll. That year, Seattle scored more points than they had in the history of the franchise.
Wow.
So it's not like he was a failure there, right? He, and for whatever reason, he and Pete Carroll, they didn't see eye to eye. And when you don't see eye to eye with the head coach, usually it's you who's gone.
Fantastic debut, except for the trivia.
Good luck on the book.
Good luck on the book, and have a great call tonight, Babe Laufenberg.
I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
The great Babe Laufenberg, Cowboys color analyst.